It's the first date. What do you mean? You the one invited me over for dinner.
I may have invited you over for dinner, but
So
we're in
a grocery store.
So what? So
I walk off for you over pay for none of these. I'm not doing
you're not gonna walk off on me either.
I'm not gonna pay. What do you mean? You invited me over for groceries. You invited me.
I invited you over for dinner. So if I'm cooking dinner, then you're buying.
You recording in a grocery store?
Yes, I'm recording in a grocery store. I'm recording.
You got the line behind you. You have your line behind you. So you holding up the line.
You're holding up the line because you're not paying for this.
I'm not paying for that.
You are embarrassing me. Pay for this.
You invited me to your house for dinner. You invited me to your house.
So you mean to tell me you're not paying for this? You know what? I tell you what. I'll pay for this. I'll pay for this, and then you gonna take me home, and you gonna just go home.
I don't care. I just have to go home because I'm not paying for it.
Right. So I'm.
But it's the first date.
Okay. Hey guys, we're reviewing this video, and several others. We're gonna splice them all together and make sense of what an entire thing is going on. But Grandma and Grandpa there are gonna be. You know what? It's funny because Grandma made sure, and I wouldn't even call her that. I'll say Auntie. Auntie made sure that she kept putting the camera back into herself because she was like, "Look at him and look at me," and he's not paying. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna move to the next video. Whew. Hilarious though.
No plans after that.
I mean, that's it. Like, you're not gonna ask for my cash up or nothing.
Your cash out for what?
You invited me on a date and I need my nails done. I mean, I thought it would click in your head while I'm telling you I'm going to get my nails done.
No, I asked you on that. I'm not waiting. Hold up. Where did that go? I gotta get your nails done to take you on a date.
Yes, you do. Like, if you invite me on a date, I have to look a certain way. And it's your job as a man to make sure I look like that. Like, baby, who raised you? It seems like your parents failed.
You just said it, though. I'm not your man yet.
Okay, but you're trying to be. Taking me on a date mean you trying to be my man, right?
I'm trying to be.
Okay, so you need to show me that you even worthy of me giving you my goddamn time.
Wow, that's crazy. I pay for my girl dates, but I'm still trying to get to know you.
It's giving broke energy. It's giving broke energy. It's giving broke. It's giving broke. It's giving broke. Y'all do so sassy. You're a little sassy ass motherfucker. Y'all, it's giving broke. You good. Don't contact me. You good. Okay. I was going to get my nails done.
You gotta go do
She called him sassy.
that right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is why you're seeing a whole lot of men now won't take you directly to dinner on the first date. They will take you something easier. Coffee. They want to talk to you. They want to meet you. They want to see what you're about because before you meet somebody, you talk to them for a few weeks, maybe even a month before you try to take them out to dinner, and then things may progress from that. But things are accelerated now. Things move much faster. We have a lot more communication. You get to see the person on FaceTime, and you get to have a lot more communication. And because of that, you take them to dinner, the potential of you ending up as food under contact is a lot higher than it was. And you, as a man or a woman out there, do not want to end up as food as the contacts. You will try to talk to them sometimes. They won't talk to you much. They'll give you basic answers. You'll get nothing from them. And then when they say, we should go out. The we should go out is not like me saying we should go out there. She's hungry and she needs food. And you are the best option because you're going to take her somewhere nice so she can wear something nice and take some pictures for Instagram.
Jesus. That's daunting.
And this is what the pool is inundated with these days. You don't know who's who, so you got to fill them out a little bit. And then they come up. Yeah, and then you find out people already, even on the first date, already entitled themselves to your wallet. They're very comfortable walking straight into your wallet and sitting in there saying, hey, very comfortable just getting into your wallet and saying, you need to pay for my nails. No, if you had your shit together and you're going on a date with somebody, you would probably want to look a certain way and present yourself a certain way because as much as that person is selling themselves to you, you selling yourself to that person. So if I'm paying for you to sell yourself to me as something, I'm not saying selling in one word. I'm saying personality and who you are as a person. If I have to start paying for you to be able to look a certain way to get to meet me, you don't want to meet me. You want to meet somebody else, or you want to meet my wallet, and my wallet is mine, and you'll stay where it is. Because if you're really interested in somebody, you wouldn't need any money to go meet them anywhere. You would meet them at McDonald's if you wanted. But you said you're not going, you have to look a certain way who raised you. Or immediately you attack him, you attack his masculinity, you attack his family, his parents who raised you. They failed. Obviously, we knew who failed. It's you. They failed you. They didn't set up the expectations for you. Nobody is Nobody has to give you anything. If he said, I will pay for your nails, that's an offer.
That's different.
But if you invited yourself to his wallet the same way you invited yourself to order 6 plates of food that none of them look touched, and you didn't order 6 appetizers, you ordered 6 entrees. This is exactly where I go to the waitress and I'm like, step to me real quick. I ordered them 2 drinks, deuces. She looked like she got family to feed at home because each one of them entrees came with rice. Why you need to eat rice 5 times and you got pasta on top of it? That's 6 different meals with 6 different people, or 6 different meals for 6 different days of the week until she ran out of food. I'm just saying, she ain't got her stuff together, and she's wondering why. You realize in the video there's nobody in front of her. That man gone like the snow in July. I wouldn't say either because why? What do I
Ideally,
get out of it?
for the man, what would be the best ending of that date? Ideally, in your own words.
Oh, well, the best ending on that date.
Mm-hmm.
If you got it,
You can think about it. You don't have
if
to.
you really have it,
Uh huh.
and since you're already here and you committed to the
Uh-huh.
date, you pay for it and you tell them thank you, but no thank you.
The producer, I am wondering if the date would end favorably in his favor. What would that look like?
Favorably in his favor.
The best case scenario in his favor that day.
She ordered all this food, or if the date went fine.
No, as it was.
After she ordered all this food,
Yeah.
it's ruined.
What would be the most favorable after she ordered the food? What would be best in his favor?
He goes home and think about his life. Go back into the dating pool. That one's ruined. There's nothing you can do.
Okay. Okay.
The
Fine.
best you could hope for
Hmm.
is being honest here. The best you could hope for is how should I phrase this? How should I phrase this? I don't know how to phrase it properly without sounding crass. It's just weird.
Hey.
It's the best you could hope for is to get some.
Okay. Okay.
But after she ordered 6 plates like that, I don't want nothing. I'm good.
That was a turnoff for you.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Because you wanted to go out with me because you wanted to take advantage of me. You already did. I'm good. I don't need you to take any more advantage of me. I am perfectly okay now.
Okay. Okay. So. Okay. So. In the reciprocal transactional aspect of what relationships are and how men have established them to be, I think that when you put a dollar amount on giving yourself for sex versus meals or even romantic gestures, we'll call it, women are even the playing field, and it's becoming it's becoming uncomfortable for men. This is what I'm saying. And so I think that what you're saying is based on what men are used to versus what they should be used to. And
No, no. What I'm saying is, any man with any self-respect for themselves will walk away from this situation. Now, if you like it and you don't have any discipline, yeah, you'll do whatever the heck you want. But any man with any self-discipline will just walk away because you realize this is not gonna work in the long run.
okay,
She's gonna take bigger and more advantage of you in more different ways than your wallet. It's gonna be your mental health at some point. It's your wallet today. It's everything until there's nothing left but lint in your pocket and your soul caved in because she took everything you have.
this is a take. You're giving a take that discounts all of the history of all the things that women have had to endure, and now they have some autonomy to decide. And also then okay, so let's look at the waves of like feminism, right? You have, you can get a job, you can get a bank account, and this is just 50 years ago. You can get a job, yay. If I don't know if men can understand, if you lived in a world where men couldn't get a job, what would that be like, right? That would be complete and total destitution, servitude, all the things, which I think men are okay with that being women's plight all these years. But then if we flip the script, if you were told that as a man you could not work, like there's not a lot of positions for you, you would try. There are some positions out there, right? But most of the time it's going to go to a guy over you. That is horrible. And then add on
It
to
is.
it that you couldn't even have a bank account to put your money into or transact out of, and all the things. Like this is just 50 years ago. So then there's that. Now women have bank accounts, jobs, and more admission of availability to higher education colleges, which again, women weren't allowed to do that. Like you're talking about a class of people, like if this was about race and we're talking about white versus black, this is exactly what we're talking about. You have a class of people only 50 years ago that couldn't do what the other class could. And then when they get to a place where they have the same, they're enacting now the rules that stand, that say men are supposed to provide for you, men are supposed to pay for everything. And when women are saying, okay, yeah, I have a job, but you're supposed to, they're like, no, you know what I mean? And that's wild. But this woman is saying, and we have the videos, all of the ones. The first one is that this woman is cooking a meal for the man, and she's going to stand up at the stove, withstand any, like, bumps, bruises, whatever's going on the stove, cook him a meal, and in her home, which that's pretty intimate, and he wouldn't even pay for the groceries. Is wild. It sounds like men are still entitled to this whole, like, you're down here aspect, like almost it's reminiscent. It's reminiscent of white supremacy and wanting to be on the top, because if you're having somebody make a meal for you, why wouldn't you cook for them? And then this other woman is like, you want to take me out, but and this is the thing, women have to do all the things to look good, and she's like, you want me to spend my money to look good for you? I'm not doing that. Because why should she? At the end of the day, like you said, his ideal for the date is to sleep with her, and then most likely, statistically, just go to the next woman. Why would a woman waste her resources and money on that? If you are, as a woman, know that men are only engaging you and talking to you, even in your face, just because they want to sleep with you, experience you, and then move on to the next one. Why would you waste your resources on that? Does that make sense? Like, if you were a woman, would you want to do that? Does that make sense?
Well, I think you're looking at it in the wrong way. The reason why I'm saying that is, yes, I understand what you mean as far as women are being a oppressed class. Does it mean that the moment you're no longer feeling oppressed, I'm not saying they're no longer oppressed, I'm saying the longer feeling oppressed, doesn't mean you have to turn into the oppressor. So I'm saying that there is a better option out there than turning into the person that was oppressing you, which is wrong. Now, saying that you want to look good for the person you're going on a date with is, if you want to look good for your date, because that's not his date, you're going to a date with each other. You have to look good and he has to look good. And you guys come together. If I'm paying for you to look good, that means that we're starting a transaction. We're already starting whatever this is wrong. This is not a relationship we're starting. This is a transaction. One person is a bank and the other person is just one person is the ATM and the other person just spits out money. That's what we're starting. We're starting a transaction. You do this for me to do this. It doesn't work that way if you want a relationship. If you're starting a relationship, if you're starting a first date, on the first date, that's a red flag on anybody's part. Now, the other example of the lady that wants to cook, this, you know what? She wants to cook for me. That's fantastic. First mistake that he made is going to the grocery store with her. Wrong idea. It's bad already. That's a red flag. Bad, if you cooking for me, bad planning on your part. The fact that you said you cooking for me, you have control of the menu. You buy the stuff to cook for me. I didn't invite myself to eat your food. You invited me. So would I want, if it's something I want to pay for the groceries, it's a different story to entitle you to tell me to pay for the groceries. It's the entitlement piece. You don't get to entitle to say, why are you not paying for the groceries? I don't like when people invite themselves into my wallet. You don't know my situation. Hey, you could have said that and I could have been on my last dollar. And you said you're cooking a meal for me, and I'm like, oh my God, she likes me. And I don't have any money. And she's gonna cook for me, and that's the one way I'm gonna eat. This is a joke. It's a joke. I'm saying that you don't have to entitle yourself to saying you're a man and you have to pay. No, 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 no. The world was wrong before when men started putting the entitlement on themselves, when women didn't have options as far as bank account and jobs and be able to do things for themselves. It's righting itself now, and now you're finding out that the world doesn't work both ways. You cannot want to be able to be independent and I don't need a man, but as soon as one's around, you have to pay. It doesn't work that way. The balance is finally swinging back in the other direction, and if it's swinging and the rise raises all boats evenly, you don't get entitlement to my wallet. It's always entitlement issue. Some men expect some things, they're entitled to women to do something, and women expect some things out of men. And that's entitlement is getting us into situations that don't need to be. Offering. I'm sure the men would love to offer once you get to register to pay, but if you tell him to pay, he will do it out of spite. Heck, I know probably I would do it out of spite. No. No, don't tell me. Don't tell me to pay. I'll pay. And especially on the first date. If it's something that you're in a relationship and you've been going out for 6 months and you tell me to pay, it's a different story than my first date with you. You're already setting up a precedent that's gonna ruin us for the future. That's the way I see it.
That's it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's it. It's that simple. No, nobody should have entitlement over people's wallet. You don't get to dictate. And you know what? Even better, if you don't like somebody, leave them alone. It goes for both sides. It goes for both sides. This is free advice. You don't like someone, leave them alone. Because you just, and so I don't like saying you're wasting somebody's time. I'm seeing it as an expensive lesson. Is I go out with you. I notice that if I was to call you and I notice that my name is Andy Food, you know what? Last time you ever see me. Thank you for the time, big dog. I'm okay. I don't need this. I know you don't like me, but you'll go out because you know you're gonna get something out of it. You can exploit that to your advantage.
Right.
Well, if you exploited me for something, you should at least make it worth my while, or is it just an exploitation on one side? It's not like it's zero sum game. Everybody will leave with something. You exploit me, you're happy, you go away with something. You do it one time, it's fine. If you think you're gonna run it the second time on me, you are sorely mistaken.
Right.
No,
Uh-huh.
just no. And some men would have let it go. It has probably happened to many men out there. They get exploited on the first date. They don't say nothing. They're watching, and they keep let it. They keep it going, and they just keep piling up. And it keeps getting worse. And some men out there saying no, from the first moment that ugly thing Riri said, I'm cutting it right off. I'm walking at this restaurant. I'm not paying for your groceries. I'm not paying for your nails because you're setting a bad precedent of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had their courage. Shout out to my brothers out there fighting the fight.
Shout out to the brothers. That you done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if you are being the one to exploit, you said, right? You want something for mostly nothing, basically, right? And the thing is that that was women for very long, extremely long, in fact. And it's not necessarily, in my view, because that's the truth, right? If, like I just said, 50 years, she couldn't even have a bank account, let alone anything. And in women's labor, women's brains, women's ideas. In fact, there was like a bridge in New York City. Her husband went paralyzed and couldn't work anymore. She finished the bridge for him before they even got started, I believe. And because she was a woman, they gave her no credit. They credited some other guy who was like beneath the master engineer. She got no credit for it. And that's the life that women have. Huh?
Didn't we have a president that it happened to suffered a heart
Yes,
attack?
yes,
In secret.
exactly. And his
Same
wife
thing.
kept the
Yeah.
company going, country going. Exactly. So these are the people you're talking about who are making their aspects. And I like to compare women and men to the white and black situation in America too, because it's very similar where one dominant group is oppressing the other, and then when the other group gets up and they are demanding better or or more, it's like, how dare you, right? You said for the folks with the groceries and everything, that she was being a disgrace for requesting what she did. But at the end of the day, women have been cooking for men for centuries with no dollar amount attached, no payment, no nothing. They've been slaving in homes, doing all the things. In fact, like the lady in the UK who she just said to the family, I always make Thanksgiving dinner. Everybody just bring $15, $20. And they berated her for even asking for payment for
No,
making a
no,
Thanksgiving meal
no,
for the
no.
family.
I will give you that, but you are conflating 2 points.
No, but I'm just saying. I'm just giving
I'm saying
examples.
that
That's
it
all.
would be fine with your example as long as she did not volunteer herself to cook the food.
That's
He
a moot
didn't
point.
ask.
That's a moot point, though, because
It is the main point.
No, I hear
He
you. I
volunteered
understand. She
yourself. If you
volunteered
volunteer
to
yourself,
cook,
you can't
but we
just
don't know that she volunteered to pay for the ingredients and being
no,
in his house.
no, no, no,
No,
no,
wait,
no,
wait.
no,
Let me just say. Let me paint the picture for you, if it's okay. Can I?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Um, Mrs. Rogers and Mr. Uncle, right? She's like, oh, our first date, whatever. Oh, I'll cook a meal for you, right? That's what she said, Miss Maxine, right? Here's the thing, though. Miss Maxine is willing to fashion a meal, which could be saving Uncle Roger money because it's being cooked from home as opposed to a restaurant. And we know that that is, how
That's
that
fine.
works
That
sometimes,
is a
right?
fine point. That
In
is
real
fine.
life. And
That
so
is fine.
I don't know how this happened, but those two ended up at the grocery store together. And that's when I start to have an issue with him. If he believed he was showing up at 6 p.m. at her house with a pie, I'm good on him. Why the hell was he at the grocery store? And
I don't
so
know. That's his mistake right there first.
this is where I gotta look at Uncle Roger and like, bro, wait, what now? Because T Maxine, she's gonna make him this meal. It could be potatoes and steak. And first of all, from somebody that cooks from scratch all the time, that's work. it's
And guess what? She volunteered for it.
volunteer or
Don't
not.
volunteer
No,
to
no,
things
no, I
that you
get
can't
that.
do. That is an important point. Don't volunteer for something that you're not willing to follow through.
She's willing to
She,
cook the meal, but the thing
she
is that
no,
how
but
did
the
they end
point
up at the
is,
grocery store
you
together? I'm
you
confused.
invited him to cook the food.
She
Now,
said, I'm gonna make a meal. I just said, okay, wait, let me go back to my thing.
yeah,
Um, I want to make a lunch for you, a dinner. Come to my house, I'm gonna cook for you, right? And he's like, oh yeah, and that's our first date. So she goes ahead and plans whatever. So she's working in the planning process. So that's work number one. And these invisible labor things that women do. We plan stuff. We write things down. We research all the things to like even cultivate the meal. They think just chefs do that, but no, home cooks do that too. But nobody cares and nobody thinks about
no,
that.
now, okay. Now, same example. Reverse the genders. Should she? Is it the same thing? Would you feel the same way?
The reverse the genders. If he said
Yes.
he's going to cook for her,
Mm-hmm.
that you research what? Yes, it takes time and research.
No. I'm saying that would you still feel the same way that would she have to pay for
Well,
the
I
groceries?
didn't even get to the end of my point. You're rushing me down to the. Do you have
No,
somewhere to go? You got to meet a girl. What's going on around here?
no girl I need to meet.
You
But I'm just
sure?
saying, no, I'm pretty sure. I'm saying though, if the roles are reversed, would you feel the same way?
I didn't even get to my point, but
Okay, go ahead. Finish your point. Finish your point,
it's
but keep
fine.
that in mind.
I'll keep it in mind, but I'll rush along because you have a hot date. The point is that she had done some preliminary work. She's gonna work in the kitchen, and I think we all idealize that this man is just gonna smooth his way in, have a good meal. And you said recently the ideal is sex, so he's getting all of that, and she gets what? Because he just showed up. Like the hell? No. And the crazy part is that they showed up at the grocery store together. So, bro, this is your opportunity to at least contribute. I am baffled that this man didn't want to pay. I am baffled that he didn't want to pay. In fact, if this was my uncle, Roger, I would be like, I don't even want to look at you anymore. Like, what the entire heck is going on? So no, I'm pissed off about that, honestly, because someone standing over a hot stove making you whatever the hell they're making, they're doing labor. This is the problem, though. Women's labor is so invisible to the point where it's like expected. And don't you dare ask that I help pay for the food,
No, not if you
because
sign up for
you need
labor
to
though.
pay for the food, do the labor, and all I get to do is show up, and it's our first date. But
Yes,
all of
you
us
signed
knowing
up
that
for
if
it,
they
though.
have that's cute because everybody loves to say that you volunteered. I hate people
You
who
you
say that.
you sure did. You said, and come eat at my house.
Come eat
That's
at
the
my house,
contract.
but there's
The
still other
contract is
stipulations. It
I
could be,
show
but they
up.
ended up at the grocery store together. Like, we have to take it for face value. They were at the grocery store together. Why was Uncle Roger there?
I have no idea.
And once
That's a
he's
very good
there, though,
question.
we have got to
No. Once
establish.
he's there, once again, he does not have responsibilities to still pay. I'm here because I'm being invited to come eat.
He should have stayed his ass in the car. That's stupid.
Listen, I'm being invited to come eat.
I mean,
I'm
because
keeping you
I'm not
company.
gonna lie. Let me ask you:
No,
Would
okay,
you would
okay.
you cook for?
Did you
No,
think about?
wait. Would you cook for him and then give him sex after? You saw him. Would you cook for him and give him sex after?
What that got to do with me though?
No, 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 no.
No, no,
No,
no.
no. I'll
You
answer.
answer
You
my
answer. No,
point
no, no. Wait,
first.
no, but no.
If the roles were reversed, would you want her to pay?
If the man says, "Come to my house and I'll cook for you,"
Yeah, and they end up
and
at the
they end
grocery
up at the
store.
grocery store together,
Same scenario, yes. Oh, oh,
never.
what happened? What
No,
happened?
no. Listen very carefully. Never in a billion years should a woman pay for anything involving a man and a date or whatever.
Well,
Because at the end of no,
well,
because at the end of the day, a woman has to sacrifice far more than a man ever has to, and that's just a natural law. Unfortunately, it sucks. It's not fair, but the equalizer is societal aspects and society, patriarchy by men, have placed it where men need to pay for stuff because women are vulnerable to a whole entire life upset if
patriarchy
the
don't work
date
for
goes the
men
way that
either.
the man would like for it to go. So I'm not playing with that. But I will say this: Would you now answer my question?
No, no, no.
Is Uncle
That
Roger getting
that is
some?
not the point.
No,
The
listen.
point
No,
is
no. Listen to
there
me.
is a social
If
contract that's
Uncle
been
Roger
signed.
had paid for the meal,
No, 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 no,
is
no,
he
no, no.
getting what he
No,
needs to get?
let's stay in focus here. Let's stay
Because
in
don't
focus.
nobody want Uncle Roger.
Let's stay in focus here.
Okay.
I'm saying this: the social contract is I'm inviting you to my house to come eat. I didn't invite you to buy groceries. I didn't invite you to buy wallet. I'm inviting you to come eat. My only obligation in the social contract is showing up and eating. Whatever happened to this going to the grocery store, I don't know what happened there. I don't care. I'm saying
Matters.
my
But
obligation under
darling,
social
that
contract is
matters. You can't just
sitting
take that
down,
out. That matters.
eating, and probably good conversation. That is my part of the social contract. Her part is she invited him. She has to plan, cook, and do the things, and then sit down and we'll eat together. That's her part of the contract. You have to fulfill your part of the contract. Now, if you also expect to brother the contract to say, hey, men this, women that, listen, you fulfill your part of the contract, regardless of what the contract is, as long as you sign up for the contract. You don't get to skip up and jump. And you do this and I do that and you do this and it goes back and forth. You volunteer for a contract, you stick to your contract. That's what it is. Otherwise, we're creating dishonorable men and women out here lying. And her face was entitled.
Sure,
She was talking.
That's something to say.
Let me tell you how she was disrespectful. She was talking through her teeth. That's disrespectful.
Yeah.
It's like talking to her child. I'm not paying for shit. I'm not paying today. I'm not paying tomorrow. I'm never paying now. Because
that's something to say. But I think that the gritting of the teeth was how flabbergasted. But I will say this, and listen very carefully to me. In the social contract of society, when people invite you to their home, you bring something. Excuse me. You don't go empty-handed. You often, in fact, help clean up after. There's a lot of there are a lot of aspects of contributing that go into being offered a meal, because at the end of the day, and like the lady in the UK, I'm going to go back to that, she asked the family, because she cooks these elaborate meals every single year, can you imagine? And nobody acknowledges it to the aspects. And the minute she asked them to all contribute $15, they complained so much that it became in the newspaper, because this is the problem. People expect so much free labor from women, and that man was extremely
That her family is trash. Let's not compare it to that man.
No, but that man was so entitled, because
if you invite me to dinner and I have to bring the table, we got a problem.
No, but my friend says I'm gonna
you want to cook for me, I have to come to your house. I have to dress.
No, I let you talk.
Flowers.
No, pause.
I have to bring you groceries too.
No. If my friend said I'm gonna cook for us tonight, fantastic, and let's go to the groceries together. We go to the groceries. She's cooking. She, whatever. And we're what are we making, whatever, and there's groceries. I'm going to contribute to those groceries, whether I'm paying all of it or some of it. And the fact that she was like, "Oh, you're not paying for it," and he was like, "I'm not paying for nothing," was so entitled and disgusting and desperate and filthy. I wonder if this man is not from the streets at this point. But I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna
But
leave it at that because that
you
was
have to
disgusting.
admit that it wasn't a question, it was an expectation. There is a difference.
As it should be. I'm cooking for you. Who are you,
No,
bozo?
she didn't ask. She expected.
Hey, who is he? Would you cook for him? Would you cook for him?
Heck
You
no.
saw that?
I don't know him.
You saw that man? No, ain't nobody in or all of America.
That man looked like
felt
he eats
the-
a lot.
He felt that one woman in the entire universe that was giving him the time of the day, and he had the nerve to act entitled. Sir, look at the statistics.
No,
You were
she
lucky
was
for this
entitled.
woman to
No.
even be looking your way and cooking, and you wouldn't go home, child. Go home. I'm
They
tired of
didn't-
it.
They don't want to be in a relationship. They didn't want to be in this, whatever this was.
I don't know
It
what it
was
was.
just, I don't know what this was,
I don't
but boy, that's funny.
All right, well, wait a minute now. Before we go,
Yeah.
we got to talk about these nails.
Oh yeah, you're not getting that.
Let me tell you something.
You know, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Okay.
On the first date, bad precedent. No.
Okay, and see, this is what keeps coming up on my side for me, respectfully. Not only are women, and I've told you this earlier today, held to this impossibly ridiculous beauty standard where they're supposed to, and not even standard of beauty, but standard of poverty. It's funny, men don't want you to have money, and they magically want you to look like money. It's very interesting to me, but you know, I've heard so many men say, "Don't let your nails be chipped" or whatever, and I'm like, but don't ask me for anything. Like, it's
I've
so
never heard that
wild.
before.
Oh! I can pull up so many videos.
Listen.
No. Listen, me. I'm gonna keep going because I'm telling you right now. This is what's going on. They want you to look a certain way, but they don't want you to have too much money. But they want you to also not want them to pay for anything. If we're getting into the delusional aspect of things, like this grandpa looking like the bottom of a hearse, telling this woman that he's not going to help pay for the food for him to eat. I can't even. And she's cooking. He's not doing anything. He's going to sit on his ass. I absolutely cannot. And for people to agree with him, including you, I don't even know what to think, because as a person that cooks often, it's effort and work. Oh my God, she's doing a part. You do yours. Buy the groceries. You're at the grocery store. But
That wasn't his.
I'm gonna leave that.
That's
I'm gonna
not
leave
his.
that. But
Let's leave that.
with the nail aspect, they want you to look a certain way. They dial you and reach out to you because you look a certain way. But then when you say, okay, these cost $100, they're like wanting you to show up looking like that to the date, but don't want to contribute to what you look like. In fact, once they get you, they don't want to pay for anything that even attracted them to you in the first place.
So,
As
okay,
well, and as
so,
a man, I would have to admonish you to be honest that men want women to look like something, but they don't want to contribute to how that happened, as if somehow magically women just look like certain things. Nobody has these gorgeous, perfect nails painted with little hearts and rainbows, and nobody has all these, like, you know, whatevers.
So
That's not how it works.
Are you
If you
saying
want a
that
girl
if,
from the farm with
if
her
there were
hair
no men
flowing
around,
and
they
such,
wouldn't do it?
huh?
They wouldn't. If there were no men around, they wouldn't look like that. They look like that because of men.
Okay, so your argument is that they're doing it for themselves. However, I'm saying the thing that attracted them to her is the thing.
Herself.
Wait, pause. Is the thing
Not
that they
her
want.
nails.
Wait, pause. Is the thing that they want her to show up looking like. But if her
Listen.
money has run out in that
Listen.
aspect of what she likes, she's saying, "Look, if you want me to look a
If-
certain way at the date, this is what it's going to be. Otherwise, I'm going to show up here, and then you're going to say, oh, catfish, oh, ghost,
No.
whatever it's
So
called.
you
I
want
don't
me
know
to
what's
what else you want me to pay for? You want me to pay your lashes that you put so many of them that you look
Yeah.
like you're gonna fly away at any
Yeah.
point? You want me to pay for your nails? You want me to pay for your
whatever
hair?
you want her to look
Eh,
like,
eh,
brother.
no,
whatever
no,
you
no, no,
want
no,
her
no,
to
no,
look
no,
like.
no,
Yes.
no. I said this earlier. If you ask somebody on a date and they ask you for money to look a certain way, hang up. That's not the person for you. Call somebody else.
Okay, and now you're feeling men. But I will say this.
No. I'm not feeling it. Hang up. That's not the person for you. Because if that person is for you, they won't ask you for shit. That means that person
not true.
ain't got it for themselves.
It doesn't
She
matter
can't
if
do
she
it
has
for
it
herself.
for herself
No. If she was interested, she would have gotten it done for herself because she want to look good, show up as her best self to the date. If you're looking to me to make you look like your best self for your
This
date,
costs money. All of this costs money. What are we
no.
doing?
No. My money is staying in my pocket and it's paying for
then you
the
have an
date.
ugly woman.
If, and if you think that I have to make you look a certain way for you to want to date with me, then you got the wrong person. Hang up for somebody else.
You
She ain't
want
the one.
uglier
She ain't the
women.
one.
That's fine.
Because no. She's gonna wear them lashes that's so long that she every time she flaps, she can't even flap her eyes properly. She can't even close her nose properly because it's too much. I'm like, who this for? Who this for?
Well, why'd you reach
man.
out to her then? Wait,
No. I want to talk to somebody that has a personality I can mesh with. Listen, the look may be the thing that got me in. The thing that keeps me around is no look. It's the personality.
Okay, so
Now-
she can show
now-
up to the restaurant.
now-
You're saying with
now,
all of
I
her
realize
personality
that
and no look.
If I
Are you
called
okay with that?
if I called you and
No,
you
but
said,
you
"Oh
didn't
yeah,
answer my
I
question.
need $300 to do this and that," let's what? That means that I realize that you got the look I want. You ain't got the personality because the first thing you try to go for is my wallet. Why? Do I look like a wallet? What shape of a wallet am I in? Am I crocodile? You know what I'm saying? Am I leather? Is that what you see? Huh? What exactly are you saying? Do you see me or you see what I can do for you?
Okay, but okay, you the guy, you see her aesthetic, you reach out because she has a look, right? Because it's all by
Uh-huh.
look if we're doing it by
Yeah.
the internet.
Yeah.
And then she shows up to the date dressed down because none of those things are aspected. Then what? What?
That's
Here,
fine.
just tell
Now
us.
you talk to her.
That's what
See
men
what's
do.
the-
That's
see-
what
see what's
men.
in the-
That was
see
what
what's
the
in the
average.
mind.
No.
If it's a real, if it's real, if that's what you're looking for.
No,
I'm
wait,
not
what
saying-
are they looking
because
for? No,
we're not looking for.
Tell us.
Not everybody. When you go on a date, it's not everybody that looks for sex. Sex is a bonus. That's fantastic. But if you want to date that person, if they lead and as soon as you put your hand, if let me rephrase myself.
Yeah, rephrase yourself.
Let me
I'm
rephrase
telling you
myself.
right
And
now,
the second time
no.
around is even gonna sound worse.
Oh,
So brace
no.
yourself.
Because I'm like, no.
I am not trying to get a charity case. If as soon as you look at me, your hand is extended, asking for something, which is most likely money, I'm just gonna give you a high five right there, dog. Yeah, we out because we're not doing that. I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. I'm reaching out to you, and I want you to grab my hand and let's go on this journey together. It's not about your nails and your lashes or
Who
your
are you
hair.
speaking for? Yourself? Because what are you talking about?
Listen,
Because that's
it's
not
not
true.
none of. I'm not speaking for
No,
real
no,
men
excuse
out
me.
there.
These men who
Real
take
men.
a what? No,
Real.
wait. Now, I
With a
don't want to
capital
hear about.
R.
I don't want to talk about real. I don't want to talk about good. I'm tired of hearing those like statements around men. A good man, a real man. No, men. Right? Statistically, she is contacted via Instagram. She looks a certain kind of a way. Don't play with the audience to tell them that if she shows up plain Jane without all of those things, he would be like, yes, let's cultivate a relationship. Like, what kind of fake men are we talking? Like, let's not do that because I don't think that's fair. Let's be honest about
that
the
is
nature
exactly
of men,
what would happen
because that is not how they are.
I wanna talk to you. I wanna see what you
I
about.
am not talking about you. I'm talking about
I'm
men.
not talking about me
statistically.
either. I'm
No,
not talking
you
about me
just
either.
said I want
Because
to. You said I.
No, listen, if you go out there with her and you start that transaction never stops. It never stops. The moment you open it, there is no closing that door. It's wide open. As a matter of fact, she was expecting to bust in like a Kool-Aid man, straight through his wallet. It's never gonna stop. She's never gonna stop asking for stuff. She's never that that hunger that she has, never gonna it's never gonna be satiated.
You've not addressed anything that I've
Ever.
said at all.
It's never
Actually,
ever.
you're talking
Okay,
about,
I'll put it
you
simpler
know,
for
you
you.
walked around it into the
I'll put
aspect
it I'll
of,
put it simpler for you. When have you ever seen a woman interested in a man ever and ask him for money to go on a date? Ask him for anything for the date. Ever. Go ahead.
you said, when have
I'll
I
wait.
ever seen a woman ask a
Interested
man
in a
out?
man and ask him for money. Hey, I can't do my nails. I can't
Oh,
go on
if
this
she
date. When
likes
have
the
you?
guy. You're saying
Yes,
if she really
if she
likes
likes
him.
the guy. Yes, if she really likes him. When that happened. Don't worry. You don't have to think about it too long. Never.
If she really likes
Hey,
him.
no, 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 no.
No, no,
What are you
I
doing?
mean, you
What
know,
are you doing?
what? I'm just, if she really likes him, um, you're saying she wouldn't say, I need my nails done. That's what you're saying.
No.
And that she only reserves, I need my nails done for the guys that she doesn't really like. That's what you're saying?
Or yes, or
And,
she can
and I
exploit.
have a logical explanation for that. And this
That's
is,
not logic.
and I will leave it at this. I'm not even going to belabor the point. Women and men are very different. Our approach to dating, relationships, and even just love is different. And if you think it's the same, you're crazy. But a woman is not, we're never in love with you at first sight. That's stupid. That's what men do, just because they catalog women and objectify them, and they're not really seeing them or knowing them. That's a man problem. We don't do that. That's why you will see a lot of women with men that are not that great looking. And in fact, baseline, men don't look that great compared to women anyway. So what do we have to work with anyway, right? Like I always say, women have
Personality.
to, women have to, women always have to date and marry down anyway, because it's just not the same. In this society that's been created. Now, in another society, maybe we could marry up, you know what I mean? You, for example, would be somebody people could marry up to, but not most men. But anyways, but I digress. So first and foremost, the woman is already at a disadvantage dealing with whatever, but we do not look at men and catalog them in the same way. You guys are the visual creatures, all the things you guys call yourselves, but when it's said back to you, you say, no, we're not. You say it all the time. We need something to look like.
That's
We
because you
need to know it looks
misunderstand.
good. We gotta
The
see
visual is only the first step. It's not
That's
the
nice,
only
but you
step.
guys repeat it
Yes,
over and over. And the
but-
minute we repeat
yes,
it back to
but
you and
you're
say,
not-
well, my
you're not
nails need to be
saying-
done, it's a problem. That's
But you're
annoying.
not saying what's behind the words. The visual is one
Yes,
aspect,
because men
but
are
it's
so
not the
deep
entire thing.
and
After the
penetrative in
visual,
their
there are many steps
ideology.
after that we follow. We have to
Sure,
figure out
because
if
they're
we like
listening and they're
you,
writing
if we're
poetry and all the
compatible,
things.
and
No.
we're writing poetry,
Oh, yeah,
and
lies.
we do all
Anyway,
that.
let me
Yes,
finish my statement.
because men are the real romantic.
Sure,
Oh,
yeah,
women.
because they have to be, because women have to date and marry down. But back to my point is that, so here she is. He's only interested in what she looks like. This is the thing you're not getting. Women we don't pay attention to men in the same regard at all whatsoever. But if somebody crosses our path, because we're not thinking about y'all, we have other things. We're more interested in resources, and this is the thing that men talk about all the time, but they don't really grapple with. We don't want men. We want what men have. And if you don't have it, we don't want you. That's
So
simple.
you're basically saying that women are
We
opportunistic.
are resourceful. We
No,
need resources.
opportunistic is what you're saying.
Whatever you want to call it, but here's the thing. One gender has been entrusted throughout the universe, whether it is a bee or a fly or an ant or whatever. One gender has been entrusted with taking care of Mother Earth, and it's usually the female. And at the end of the day, we look for resources and we try to recycle these resources into propagating some aspect. That's why women who are above 45, 50, 60 are so useful, because they're not selfish bastards that sit and scratch their ass. They're over there volunteering, doing things, growing gardens, all the things. Women have been entrusted with the earth to keep it going and take care of it. And so women are resourceful and we search resources. That's why the female
That's fantastic, but
No, well,
all
let
of
me
them that's
finish.
under 40 are terrible human beings.
Yeah, that's
They
cute.
gotta
But
wait
no,
until they're 40
that's
to actually
that's
get some
cute.
great.
But no, that's cute. But no, we're resourceful at 22. No. But the thing is that the female bee, that's why they are the worker bee. worker bee is the female bee because the female is always working to replenish and keep the earth going to the point where the human female, their special job, aside from pilfering resources and making things happen, and I mentioned earlier, multiplying what we get tenfold, because that's what we do, is also the worker bee. The worker bee does what it does, but the human bee, the human woman, sorry, they give birth and they keep replenishing the human race. It's very sacred and very important as opposed to what men do. And so
Okay,
I'm saying,
okay,
no, wait,
okay.
wait, let me
I'm
finish.
gonna
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
land
stop
my
you
plane.
right there.
Let me land my plane. If you could just let me land. I swear to God, I'm gonna be done. I'm just
All right.
trying to tell you because this is just true, right? It's just a fact, and I don't have to be refuted because we could just open all the encyclopedias and it's the truth. The thing is that the best a man can do is be resourceful to a woman and find the best woman to provide his resources to, right? And the best a woman can do is take those resources and be resourceful. That's the best they can do. Is there's no problem with a woman expecting a man to come with resources. Now, as far as peacocking and all that stuff, men created that for women, their whole visual creature, all that crap. And so women have gotten wise to the game after in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, paying all this money for their mascara, their eyelashes, and all this stuff. It was like, you just want to sleep with me. You're not interested in me. So go ahead and pay for the stuff, and then yeah, I'll show up and I'll look nice. Nothing wrong with that, and I'll lay my plane there.
All right. So let me say this: women are not a monolith. Not every woman is the same. And I'm saying this message out there for all them resources wasters. Stop. Because some of you are there are terrible human beings, and terrible people, and you're wasting resources. You're saying that women love, you find resources and multiply it. That's fantastic. How about if I have the resource, don't waste it?
Well, you chose bad.
Because no,
You have to choose bad.
this is why the man said, I'm not paying for it. And he's not wrong. You're wasting my resources because you're not making advantage of the resources you have. You just want to keep yours and waste mine. It's not happening because you categorize men as men also are not modeled as much as women are not modeled. So I'm saying that don't waste my resources and we're gonna be fantastic. If I feel like you are gonna waste my resource and my resource is not enough to match whatever you got going on, I'm walking away from you, which is why I'm not paying for the groceries, which is why I'm not paying for the nails, and which is why I'm not paying for them 6 plates that food that you wanted to eat because you wanted to feed you and your family. You're wasting my resources, and I'm not that guy. Good night. That's what I say.
I hear you, and you're making sense. You really are. I think what you're missing though is statistics, right? Like this is not a conversation about the internet per se. This is not these random people who are stop to film something in the grocery store. It's a conversation about humans around the world. And the truth is that even in Africa, like they had some initiatives where they're trying to develop in Africa and they were trying to build up communities and create wealth. And do you know who they went to give the money to? They went to women and specifically single mothers. The thing is that women are really good at taking resources and doing something very fantastic and wonderful with it, whereas men will take a resource and buy sex. In certain countries, that's kind of like, how things go. And they knew that. And so they avoided to give the resources to men and straight to women. Feminism has helped us to kind of get to a better place. But the problem is that with feminism and the independence of women, it's very difficult for men to catch up to realize they have to do a little bit more than just show up to have a woman's grace and time and aspects. To have a woman in her home, she's opened her home to you, which is very dangerous, by the way, and I know you would agree. to open her home to you, to make a meal for you is an honor. And the very least she's asking when she's going to be cooking over a stove for you is to buy a bag of groceries. It's embarrassing that you wouldn't. And I would never want to be caught dead with any man like that, and let alone and let him into my home. That after this woman is doing all of this labor for you, you couldn't at least muster it up enough to say, "Oh, you invited me, but you know, we're at the grocery store. You're cooking. I'll pay." It's embarrassing, and I swear to God, I'm sure there are a lot of men that would pay. The thing is that once it becomes like a meme and an aspect, people get divided on the principle, and men are so gung ho about not being taken advantage of, even though they created a system where they're telling women don't get an education, don't work, don't do
But
anything,
you have to
and let
understand that
us provide
only,
for you.
but you
It's
have to
like, what
understand that
message
only
are you guys
now
really telling
men,
us?
you have to understand that only now men understand that patriarchy. Only recently we started to realize that patriarchy also doesn't work for men. It took generations of men before they finally realized this doesn't work. It never did. It was the illusion of it working. And the reason why it keeps going is because people, as much as I saw this, there's a phenomenon where you see something not working, you realize it's not working. You're seeing it with your eyes, but you cannot imagine the possibility of replacing it with something else because you don't know what else to replace it with, which is why you're stuck in the same thing, which is what's going on in politics as of what's going on right now. You know it's not working. You're seeing it, but your mind can't comprehend and put a solution together to fix it, which is why we finally are waking up and realizing patriarchy was toxic to men. And it poisoned men to a point that didn't made us stronger, it made us weaker at some point. And then with now, it's just waking up and fixing the issue, but we're years behind. And it's going to take some time for us to catch up. So it's fine. Yes, opening up your home to somebody and trying to feed them, even a stranger at that, is dangerous for women. Yes, that's absolutely. But you also have to understand my point that nobody's entitled to nobody's stuff. And men have always known that since the world has started. You're not entitled to anything from anyone, anywhere. Doesn't matter where you are on this third rock from the sun. Nobody's entitled to anything. So the same way she's not entitled to just expect him to pay, he's also not entitled to think that she was gonna pay, but you're standing at the grocery store with your wallet warmly in your pocket. I am not for him. You know what? I'm for him the fact that fight back. She's talking to you nasty. Don't pay for shit. At the same time, I know what I would do in this situation, which means that I would pay and I don't want your food no more. Thank you, because you can't follow through with what you said you were gonna
That
do.
makes me sad.
And you were a promise breaker. Don't break your promise. Feed me like you were gonna feed me. You know what? That's what I'm saying.
That makes
I
me
don't want no
sad.
part.
Promise.
I don't want your food no more. The same way with the 6 plates of food. I would personally pay for the 6 plates,
I know you
and
would.
you would never see me again. Ever. As a matter of fact, by the time I leave this restaurant, you would have been blocked in life. Next time you see me, as a matter of fact, I won't even see you. I'm blind. I don't see you no more. The same way with the women with the nails. The fact is, I don't mind paying. You're just not entitled to think that I have to pay. I don't have to do nothing but pay my taxes and stay black. But it's the entitlement for me that's pushing me over the edge to say, don't do it. Because once you, if you fixing a pendulum and you putting your thumb on the scale to push it on the other side, it's going to get lopsided at some point, and next thing you know, it just opened the scale up for everybody getting exploited, just the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's fixing itself. Of course, we need to help women to help fix what we messed up, but we don't have to fix it at the expense of ourselves. That's my final message.
Well, yeah, I agree. I agree that nobody needs to go down to fix anything, but for sure, I understand that you would ghost many of these women. I think you're wrong, but I understand your point. Absolutely, and I appreciate you for sharing. So, guys, that's our show. We will see you guys on the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And bye. All right. Good job.
You stop recording?